Just days before Iran's regime could have fallen, Donald Trump called for a ceasefire. Israeli forces had already begun a final phase of strikes aiming not just at nuclear sites, but at top leadership. The results were catastrophic. Now, Tehran mourns over 1,000 dead, and the opposition abroad smells blood. Was this war or an aborted revolution? According to exclusive reporting from the Washington Post, Israel was on the verge of executing what officials describe as the final phase of a coordinated assault designed to topple Iran's Islamic Republic when President Donald Trump intervened with a ceasefire announcement on June 23rd. Senior military analyst David Ignatius revealed that Israeli forces had moved beyond targeting nuclear facilities and were preparing strikes on senior regime targets. As one Israeli source told the Post,
when Trump declared a ceasefire, Israel was moving into a final phase of attacks intended to topple the regime.
The 12-day conflict fundamentally altered the regional balance of power. Israeli sources confirm their campaign achieved near total destruction of Iran's nuclear capabilities, with one well-informed official stating,
Iran is no longer a threshold nuclear state.
The assessment indicates Iran would now require at least 1 to 2 years to build a deliverable nuclear weapon, assuming it could somehow hide its activities. The scope of Israel's success proved devastating beyond initial expectations. According to Israeli military assessments shared with the Post, strikes eliminated virtually all of Iran's top nuclear scientists, including all first and second tier figures and most of the third tier cadre. This represents what sources describe as an unprecedented loss of scientific expertise that will likely deter future recruitment. President Trump had given Israel approval to launch the June 13th assault, but made clear that continued US support depended on Israeli progress in meeting expectations. The United States ultimately delivered the final blow with Air Force B-2 bombers and Navy Tomahawk missiles targeting Iran's most protected facilities. Israeli forces achieved total air superiority within 48 hours, enabling the destruction of approximately half of Iran's 3,000 ballistic missiles and 80% of its 500 launches. The strikes successfully disabled key uranium enrichment facilities at Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, while also destroying Iran's uranium conversion capabilities and buried stockpiles of 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium. Saeed Ohadi from Iran's Martyrs Foundation offered a starkly different narrative in an exclusive interview with Tehran Times published on July 26th, arguing that Israeli attacks ultimately strengthened rather than weakened the Islamic Republic. Ohadi revealed the human cost of the conflict.
As of now, we've confirmed that 1,064 people were martyred. Among them, 47 were under 17 years old, including a 2-month-old and a 9-month-old baby. These were innocent civilians, not nuclear scientists or military personnel. We also lost 162 women. Again, they weren't members of the armed forces. They were ordinary people living their lives at home. What I'm trying to say is that, nowadays we see that human rights organizations always claim that they defend human rights, laws, and regulations for people all around the world. Where are these people? Where are these organizations?
Ohadi described particularly tragic incidents, including families killed together.
In the case of the Bahmanabadi martyrs, the mother was feeding the baby late into the morning. The baby was only 9 months old and both were martyred while the baby was hugging the mother. Also, in the same Bahmanabadi family, there was Hanieh, who was only 3.5 years old. Her sister was 8.5 years old. When the bombardment happened, Hanieh was afraid and ran to her sister, hugging her. Both were martyred at the same time. Is this a human right?
Ohadi argues that rather than intimidating the population, the attacks produced the opposite effect.
They thought that with their huge bombardment, they could intimidate the people with this horror, create an atmosphere of fear and terror among the population, and that people would be scared. Because of all these bombardments, because they had killed and martyred high-ranking commanders, they thought people would rise up in the middle of this game. They thought people would come into the streets, stage demonstrations, and maybe revolt against the country and the government. It was the opposite, because people believe in this country. People believe in the commanders of the country.
According to Ohadi, the attacks revealed the true scope of Israeli and American intentions.
Why did they start the bombardment? Why did they begin these attacks against us in the middle of negotiations? What I'm trying to say is that the aim and goal of the enemy were far from what they claimed, way beyond what they claimed. It now seems, based on analysis and studies over this war, that they aim to demolish and destroy everything in Iran. They actually attacked the dignity, the culture, and the civilization of the people. This is what they were targeting. They wanted to collapse it all. They were aiming to collapse the entire country during this war. This was their main goal.
Iran's exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi capitalized on the crisis by convening what organizers called the largest opposition gathering since the 1979 revolution, held Saturday in Munich with over 500 political, academic, and cultural figures in attendance. Speaking to the assembled crowd, Pahlavi declared,
"This regime has poisoned our soil, air, and economy, and dragged Iran to the edge of destruction. Ali Khamenei should know his regime is crumbling. Many around him despise him, and thousands of his own forces are waiting to abandon the sinking ship."
Pahlavi emphasized the urgency of the moment, telling attendees,
"For the first time in decades, we have a real chance to uproot this anti-Iranian regime. Over 50,000 state insiders, including members of the military, have registered with my platform to assist in the Islamic Republic's downfall."
Nobel Peace Prize laureate Shirin Ebadi also addressed the Munich gathering through a video message.
The political structure and constitution of the Islamic Republic do not allow for any kind of reforms, and to achieve a democratic and secular government in which all citizens, regardless of political or religious beliefs or any other kind of differences, enjoy equal rights, there is no path but the overthrow of the regime and holding a referendum under the supervision of the United Nations.
Family members of protest victims provided emotional testimony at the event. The mother of Irfan Dashti, killed in the 2022 protests, told Pahlavi directly,
"My Irfan is gone, but countless Irfans are rising from the soil. You are our only hope to reclaim our home."
Pahlavi warned opposition groups that time remains limited, stating,
"This opportunity will not last forever, but with unity and resolve, we can seize it and reclaim Iran's future."
The gathering represented the most diverse coalition of anti-Islamic Republic voices assembled outside Iran since the revolution, with all participants backing three core principles, including preserving Iran's territorial integrity, defending individual freedoms, and separating religion from the state.